Hey, welcome back to the Ready State. So what I try to do with my own practice is use my warm-up time for this old, well-established tradition called messing around. If you were a boy who grew up in the 70s and 80s, you would call it dicking around. All right, but the idea here is I want to do a little bit more play in the gym and not just kind of get sucked into the formality of training, which I think is great, but play and exploration is part of the game. One of the things that we have continued to appreciate from all the wonderful people who've been throwing the maces around for a long time is that this is a great way to incorporate a lot of training, a lot of rotation from the elbow back, from Naudi, functional patterns, all the way over to, Chris, Duffin, Kabuki with the shoulder rock. We love it. This is the On It Mace. It's fantastic. Okay, so you've heard of maces before. Let's talk about that. In 1985 or 1986, Bruce Evans and, is it Bruce Evans? Bruce Evans, my bad. Evans and Cawley in 85, 86 realized that they needed a way to get some high velocity training in with their athletes. So I throw a lot of medicine balls as a less formal way to just catch, find myself in strange positions, have to get back to a position where I can create a lot of rotation. We can do the medicine ball training. If you've ever been to my gym or trained with us, I love to warm up with medicine balls. We take it from a squat position, we go from lunge position, we're able to get into some long lever shapes and overhead. We're able to basically do a lot of crazy play. Now the magic of this, of course, is using a lighter weight and not just throwing it to a wall and catching it, which is by itself a wonderful drill. But the idea here is that, man, we have to be able to apply load to an external object and be able to accelerate that object in space. So one of the things I do with my girls a lot is this is their 4-pound medicine ball, and we aim for light and high speed. But we still don't always feel like we get the number of reps and touches. In fact, this thing is so important that even like Harry Mera, training the last batch of gold medalist decathletes, at one point he was realized that his athletes were strong enough and capable enough, but they were not springy enough. So springiness, dynamicism, athleticism, catch, throw, all those things. Fundamental track. Enter the ropes. So David Weck sent me some ropes, and I want to point out that a couple of our athletes, or a couple of our coaches at the gym have gone to his course to try to understand what he's doing. And I have come to believe that this is a wonderful, wonderful way, as Weck says, to tie the shoulders to the hips, to connect the feet. It just connects us. Ropes are connectors. And one of the things that we're always looking at too is things that scale. So as I'm working and thinking about kids at home right now, this is just a chunk of rope with some heavy knots in the end. These maces are difficult to scale up. Having 50 medicine balls can be difficult, but 50 pieces of rope, manageable. And one of the things I really appreciate about the rope is all of the shapes that it exposes me to, even for just warming up. So suddenly my scapula is moving, I'm able to hit different archetypes, work on rotation, tie the upper body to the lower body on some of these things, right? End up getting into some crazy shapes that are wonderful hip openers that we should all recognize as, oh, I know what that is. We've all done this hip opener 1,000 times, right? Whether you're using whatever these tools are, I want to encourage you to look at and think about tools as, does this scale across cohorts? Is this technology wonderful but so expensive that it's an ARP wave device and I can only have one because it costs me $20,000 and I'm only going to work on one athlete? That's still valid. That athlete is the best athlete in the world. But how do I scale these positions? How do I scale rotation? How do I get that into more part of the language of my daily athletic populations? And we have seen a ton of really good use for our elderly athletes. These have been part of our master's program for a minute here. And what we've seen is that their shoulders work better. They're working on rotation. They're asked to get into different shapes. Whoa, you can do all the fun stuff that you want. And then, of course, it begets the next conversation of, well, what happens if rope gets a little heavier? So I ordered a heavier rope just to see what that stimulus would be like, and I realized I had ball slams, I had things that scaled very quickly, and then I actually had a wonderful way for me to prime some of my own shoulder stuff and work on rotation as part of the magic. And so what I've been doing is using this time to pick up a new skill to think about prepping my shoulders and having more fun. So as a jump rope beyond double undering, get back to understanding play, looking rotation. This is one of the ways that I've been using for my kids and a couple of their friends who we've been having remote PE with to get them to rotate and get comfortable creating rotation and move into different planes with just a chunk of rope. So again, what we should be thinking about is what are the ways we can get more rotation and power to connect that to the feet of our athletes so that we can actually make something of this carcass. So it's not just a work machine, but it's an skilled, tied together, integrated one-piece machine. See you guys tomorrow.